Big Boy's
Big
Neighborhood.
Boy.
Man, I've been waiting on this one right here.
Have
man.
you now?
Yes,
Why?
I have. Neve from Catfish is in the neighborhood. Neve, welcome to the neighborhood.
Well, I'm glad I made you wait.
Yeah, you sure the hell did.
Because that's what a lot of people on the show go through, right? It takes years. They just hear someone's voice.
Yeah.
Like I've been hearing yours, and you've been, seeing me on TV.
And we never connected.
We never got to meet.
You
We
know
never
what I'm saying?
FaceTimed or nothing.
Yeah.
So
Well, my FaceTime camera's messed up.
That's right.
So I can't.
What's that, an Android?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't do anything with it. Does it still surprise you that this many? What did you just wrap? What, 7? Are you going into 8, or where are you now?
Yeah. So technically, we have one more sort of section of season 7 that's going to air this spring.
Does it still surprise you that people still go through Catfish, or it doesn't surprise you?
At first it did much more. Like when the show was new and it was really this buzzy phenomenon. Oh my God, people are getting catfished. We were surprised every time we'd get renewed because we just thought, okay, everyone knows this is going on now. People are going to avoid.
They're aware.
Right.
Yeah.
But now what I've realized is just because of the natural progression of social media and I would say loneliness, that seems to sort of be the newest epidemic. Boredom and loneliness in the world, but especially in the U.S., like I think more and more people are getting catfish now than ever.
Right.
And it's not necessarily because they don't know that it's happening. They just don't care. They're just happy to have someone to talk to who flirts with them and gives them attention, and they don't even really necessarily want to know that they're getting lied to.
And we have this whole, it can't happen to me. Now, to some of us, it can't. But for real, because the first thing I would say is FaceTiming.
Yeah, let's
But
be
there's
us.
just some people that it doesn't happen.
Right. Well, what's interesting is we say that all the time on the show. Like, why didn't you FaceTime?
Right.
Young people, especially teenagers, early 20s, feel less comfortable FaceTiming than they do texting because it's too personal and they don't want to necessarily worry about how they look or,
I need an appointment.
But if I'm talking
Right,
to
exactly.
if I'm talking to you for like 9 years, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Dude, I met my husband online, and so I remember right when we first met, and he like stood up, and we were like pointing at each other, like, "Oh, it's you," and I went, "Oh, thank God, it's him." Like
Right.
compared to the photos that I saw, because I was so worried.
What if I would have
about
walked
getting-
up to you like, I'm sorry, I didn't know what to do.
Oh,
Yeah, she said, oh no, wow, thank you so much. Yeah. Oh no, not you.
No, but I was happy I didn't get catfished.
Neve, do you get sad for some people sometimes?
Yeah, all
Yeah.
the time. I mean, it's we do our best on the show to usher people through what is in most cases a very sad, unfortunate sequence of events and maintain some good vibe. But it's tough because they're so overwhelmed by the fact that they're on a show. They've seen the show for many years. There I am now all of a sudden in their life. I take them on this 3 or 4 day whirlwind adventure, often across the country, to meet this person that they're in love with, and then I leave, and I that's when I kind of feel the worst, is because
Right.
I don't know how life's going to be back for them when they go home now, and they don't have this wonderful thing that they were using every day to make themselves feel good, and so that's when I start to get sad, thinking about how their life is going to continue now without this sort
Right.
of ray of sunshine. That
Do you ever get scared? Because I know that
for
sometimes
real.
y'all meet out like in a park, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay,
Right.
that's a
There
car.
have been some scary times.
Hell, I
episodes,
remember
yeah.
it was one where it was like, so you guys walked in and the dude just kind of left y'all upstairs, and y'all. This is when
right.
Max was with him. You and Max were like, hey man, and then Max was a little bit more gangster though, because Max get in your face, he's like, man, fuck this. No. but yeah, like I would get a little scared.
You know what? I don't know if it's partly just because I grew up in New York City and I kind of learned early on how to stand up for myself, and like that. You've always heard if you ever encounter a bear in the wild, you have to like make yourself feel
Rawr.
big and like loud.
Right.
And I kind of just grew up with that energy. But the people on the show, both sides, the sort of hopeful and the catfish, these are people who have somewhat surrendered years of their lives to a relationship that's very passive and safe, right? These are usually indoor people.
Right.
And they're not super aggressive or angry people. So, like, that's why I'm not usually that afraid of them, because they're generally pretty passive, which is why they're in this situation to begin with.
Have you seen a pattern, like anything that's common now?
Oh,
with this
yeah,
many
for
years?
sure. I mean, there's a lot of themes that carry throughout the episodes and the people that we meet. I don't care at all about sales of a book that I wrote, but I did actually put together a book a couple of years back, where I really outline kind of the thesis on what all the types of catfish and the sort of themes and reasons. So if someone's really interested, they can look that up. But yeah, I mean, I do think the main theme that I see throughout the show is boredom.
Right.
And
is there social anxieties or anything like that you gather?
It's funny, a lot of the young people on the show will talk about trust issues, and I never really understood what that meant. But now it's starting to become more clear because young people are growing up in this world. Their lives are super public from the moment they're in 5th grade or even earlier, right? They're online since day one. And so I think there's something very attractive to young people about having a relationship that exists off the grid. So it's not to share with your friends and family.
I can see that. Like
Right.
A secret relationship
It's a
kind of
secret thing that's just
Yeah.
your own, and you get to have it, and it's not for anybody else, and you don't have to see pictures or share pictures. You don't have to worry about how you look, or it's just like this genuine emotional connection that you have that isn't judged or rated or liked, and I think there's something very attractive about that.
Neve from Catfish in the Neighborhood. Neve, like, I know that it's a TV show as well, and I do this thing on air called phone taps, and there's just some phone taps that I can't play, like some of the good ones. Damn, it got away.
Sure.
With Catfish, are there some that got away where you're like, damn, legally, or this person didn't, because I know y'all gotta go
Right.
through certain things.
Yeah,
but-
well, so I don't know the answer to this as well as like the producers on the show who have told me before that they were working on episodes that were so wild, and then like days before flights are booked, we're ready to go, and it falls apart because
something.
They don't want to do
right,
it.
someone doesn't want to
to
do it, or somehow they find out. Like the hopeful will find out because they're excited to be on the show. They'll do some research on their own, and they'll realize this whole time it wasn't who they thought that it was.
Is it getting harder to do the show? Catfish?
That's a good question. I think.
Production probably be like, hell yeah,
Right.
it is.
Yeah, right. Well, right. I mean, MTV is giving us less and less money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the good part about the show being on for a long time is that we've established credit, and we have a reputation of doing what we do with kindness and compassion. So people are willing to come on the show, which always shocks me. I mean, it's you're vulnerable, you're going through this weird situation, you're likely going to be embarrassed, but people trust me and Max and my new co-host to do what we do gently, and to usher people through this difficult situation, and hopefully have them come out better on the other side of it. So that's why I think the show can continue and why people keep watching it.
Neve, being catfished yourself, how did you not have trust issues to find your queen now?
I don't know. I'm a very trusting person by nature.
I noticed that when I saw the first catfish.
Yeah, because I actually
I was like,
then
don't go in there.
I actually then got catfished again.
Oh, wow.
Did you
We
make
did
that
a
one
special
public?
about it.
Yeah.
We did an episode about it. Not a romantic catfish, but there was this girl who hit me up on Twitter. She had a pretty big following, and she was really good at like high engagement tweets that were geared towards young women, like about emotions and boyfriends, and she also did like makeup tutorials. And she said, hey, I follow you. I love the show. I would always see her tweeting about it on when it would air. And she would get lots of retweets. And I was like, this is like a cool fan. And she's like, I can help you with your Twitter. Your engagement's low. You don't tweet as much as you should. Like, let me help you.
Get your numbers up.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, cool. And I actually put her in touch with my business manager. We were going to have a contract.
thing.
I was going to pay her weekly to help me with these tweets. And so I obviously gave her access to my Twitter so she could look at my analytics and do all that. Anyway, it didn't end up working with her because my wife at the time thought it was weird because she was like this cute girl, and she's like, I don't want you
Yeah, of course.
working with this.
She was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever. I've never even met her. She lives in Las Vegas or something. Anyway, but it didn't work out. Then we had our baby, and I was up late, obviously, as you do with newborns. And I was on my Twitter, and I saw I had a DM, and I looked, and it was from somebody I'd never heard of before, some guy, which is weird because you can't get a DM from someone unless you follow them.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, well, I don't follow this guy. So I looked at it, and it was like a message from him mid-conversation about a meeting that he was excited to have with me or something. And I wrote back, I was like, I think this is a mistake He said, "Oh no, I've been. What do you mean? Like there's a whole thing.
no.
We've been
Wait,
having a
Wait,
conversation.
right. So what had happened was she had been using my Twitter, pretending to be me, to confirm to other people that she was real.
Wow.
So yeah, which is wild. And then immediately deleting all these conversations.
Wow.
And the only reason I saw it was because I was happened to be up late one night.
Wow.
Anyway.
Before she can delete that one.
Right.
She knew your sleeping hours. Like,
Yeah.
Ah,
Right.
He's asleep. Get my tweets on.
So but she, you know,
Hey,
like,
dude,
but-
and your wife was like, I told you.
yeah. Well, then I freaked out because she was like kind of a friend, and I still think she was really nice. She actually sent us like a beautiful baby gift for our kid. Like,
With a microphone in it.
yeah, I don't know.
Tracking device.
Alexa. Oh,
Her
man.
name was Alexa.
Yeah, it probably was. Where's Max? Now I know Max went on to do his project
Yeah.
and everything. I miss Max on the show.
I miss Max,
Yeah,
too.
he had. I'm saying
The
I miss
romance
him.
was nice.
Yeah.
Well, so Max, him being on the show was sort of a goof to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
We were scheduled to shoot the pilot. I had actually lined up another friend of mine who's a filmmaker, and then the pilot got pushed a week, and my friend couldn't do it, and I needed someone, so we scrambled, and I called Max, who wasn't even really my friend at the time. He was my brother's friend. And he was available and kind of laughed and thought like, oh yeah, this will be a fun,
All right, might as
goofy
well.
thing. Yeah, why not?
I'll pass by. I'm on my way
so
over
then
there.
6 years later, he's been waiting to really dive into his filmmaking career. I mean, he's done a lot of great
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and he made a movie, and he does all these awesome web videos and commercials. But he really wanted, always his dream was to be a filmmaker, and so he finally just looked at me and he's like, Neve, I gotta go do. I gotta follow my dream.
And I'm
man."
pretty sure, like,
Have
after
to.
season 1, he was like, then season 2, like,
Yeah,
it's
maybe
not
too,
gonna.
right, exactly.
How long can this run? You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
exactly.
All the legs are off. Season 3, we're
Right,
done.
right.
Yeah, so he's gone, but he's doing his thing. And now we get a chance to see other people come
Right,
in.
which has been really fun. I don't know if you guys saw, we had some fun co-hosts this season.
Yeah. I was waiting on my call, but they never called.
Well,
they
even if I
didn't.
had known.
You're still on the list, Big.
Yeah,
You're-
I'm still
they're
on
gonna
the
call.
list. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'll walk in and be like, "Who's he?" They think that I'm the person that's trying to meet them and hit me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Has
right.
anyone ever been attacked? Because I don't recall.
We had one smack. We had one like very.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
Were they black?
No, the girl
See,
was.
I told y'all. You know what I'm saying?
White. She was
Yeah.
white.
Y'all asking them
Man, you know how
questions.
those whites are always hitting each other.
Yeah.
Go ahead. We'll talk about it.
No, yeah, but
But I've seen somewhere where it was almost like about to be some squirrels.
yes,
Yeah,
I've
like-
definitely like diffused some situations.
Do you know what I think is exciting for you being the host is that every encounter is different.
Yeah.
You know, it's same but different. So it's like when you go to work and you don't know what you're going to expect.
I don't know where I'm gonna go. I don't know who I'm gonna meet. What's gonna happen? Yeah, it's really fun.
And you guys really just get up and go.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm like, man, MTV put them in first class. Like
No,
you guys are
we
really sitting there like
we really just we do the show. But, you know, for a lot of people, we're taking them on their first flight or first time out of state. And so, you know, well, it doesn't really. This is stupid technical stuff, but we want to be able to all sit in a row. So, you know, you can't
Right.
sit first class anyway.
When you guys aren't
right.
filming and you guys are still
I would
like
come
in
back
the
for the
city.
shoot myself though. Like, you know what I'm saying? We rolling. All right, I'm coming back there.
Like
Yeah,
there's
right.
moments where there's like downtime when you're like, okay, we're gonna meet up with the catfish
Sure.
the next day. What do you guys hang out with the person that you brought with you? Are you
Oh
allowed
my
to?
God! You want to hear a crazy story? So yes, I like to hang out with them if they want to hang out with
Okay.
me. We actually were filming in Vegas an episode with Rashad Jennings. I think that yeah. And the young man who we were helping meet this person he'd been talking to. We all wanted to go out. We were in Vegas, but I didn't want to party too hard. Obviously, we had to work the next morning. But I wanted to do something fun, so I booked us a reservation at one of those dine in the dark
Oh yeah.
places because I thought like, okay, that's something fun. It was close to the hotel. We get there, and I don't know if you've ever been to these, but you know, you don't know what's on the menu. The whole fun of it is that you're figuring out what you're eating without seeing it, which really makes the eating experience very interesting.
Sounds like a nightmare.
no, it's fun. It's fun.
I would freak
Louis
out,
hates
dog.
to be blindfolded.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, or in the dark.
By the way, the waitress at the restaurant told us that at least once a week people get naked
Yeah.
while they're eating.
Why?
See, that's how I would do it.
Right. And
But
sometimes
why? Go
things,
big or go
things
home.
obviously happen
Yeah.
under the
or
table.
can you imagine?
Oh, wow.
Wait,
That's
I'll be the one
weird.
to be like, yeah,
Oh.
okay, what is? Sir, that's my cock. Sorry about that.
What is this? Is this noodle? What kind of noodle is this?
Sorry about that, sir. It's dark in here, and plus my vitamin A levels are low. All right, so you
Anyway,
guys.
so I took the crew and this kid to a restaurant, and they ask you at the beginning, is anybody any allergies? Because they just
Yeah.
got to be careful.
Of course.
And no one said anything too bad. Anyway, we get in there and they bring us this second course, and we can all tell we can't see it, but we can all tell it's like little bread crustinis, and it's got what tastes like cheese on it, and we're all loving it. And then the kid turns to me and he says, like, I think I'm allergic to something on this. I was like, well, what are you allergic to? He's like, well, I have a little bit of a peanut allergy, but they said there are no peanuts in anything. So he calls the waitress over, and now his throat's like, he's like coughing. And she's like, he says, what is this? What did I just eat? And she's like, oh, it's cashew butter.
Oh.
He's like, oh, I'm definitely allergic to this. It's so allergic that he actually got rushed to the hospital, like, what's it called? Anaphylactic shock, like, stayed overnight.
Wow.
Really, like, it was a close call.
Wow.
So,
Scary.
so the producers have asked me now, like, not to hang out with not to hang out with anybody anymore.
He almost died, Neve.
Almost got him killed.
Yeah. Still trying to do the show. Like, is she coming to see me, Neve? Like, hate to tell you, but she doesn't exist.
Yeah.
When you see these start to unfold, where it's like, well, no, I've been talking to her, and well, her phone is messed up. Are you already sitting there like, oh my, I know how this ends?
I do now, obviously, in more
Yeah.
recent seasons, it's harder to get invested in the story a little bit because I've seen so many, and they do all often sound the same up top. But I know that it's going to be different, and I know, like, oh man, we just did an episode that I really thought I knew exactly what was going on. We flew all the way up to the UP, which is actually where the woman who catfished me lives.
Uh-oh.
I hadn't been back since then.
You hit the block like, hey,
I know this
this area.
The UP is pretty big.
Familiar.
And the episode took a turn I did not expect. I mean, so like,
Has that one aired yet?
No, we just filmed
okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. All
So
right.
watch it.
I'm still getting surprised.
I love when it turns out to be them.
Yeah.
Like, it was one where it was like, it was
Yeah,
this
that's what I was
cool
gonna ask.
guy, and then it was like, they met him on the beach, and it was like, no, it's really me. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you do get episodes like that?
Oh, yeah.
And you do? Oh, I didn't know that.
We
Yeah,
do.
we
It doesn't
probably get
happen
one a
often.
season. Yeah,
Wow.
if that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or when they even though it's not the person, they still have that connection.
That's
Yeah.
I like that.
We've
That's
had a few that worked
crazy.
out.
Yeah, man. They're like, you're a dork, I'm a dork. No, yeah.
You're not that high. Me
No one says,
That's real, man, because I know with my wife, people got to see how beautiful my wife is and be like, man, okay, was this a catfish that worked out? Or,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Did Neve help you with this?
catfish
Like, how
that
the hell did you
worked
get her?
out.
Neve's the officiant at the wedding.
actually, I was recently on KFC radio. Oh no, failing up. No, one of the
Kentucky
Barstool
Fried
ones.
Chicken got
Oh,
a
No,
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Why don't we work there?
Google this. Yeah, I definitely need to go redo my deal.
Yeah, you
Instead of a mic, it's a biscuit.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Be like, yeah, big left reel to go to KFC. Then all
buckets.
Bob Pim to be like, I knew that he would leave for KFC. You know what I'm saying?
He's
It was-
got golden crust,
Popeyes.
doesn't he? I think Bob Pittman. I think
he got everything.
He got
You know what I'm
everything,
saying? He has everything.
You could do the golden crust show.
Yeah, there it is right there. Bob, hit me up. No, what we about to say here?
I was just about to say. So I did this show, Failing Upwards, a podcast, and they said they think I'm like one of the biggest cock blockers because all these catfish might have had a chance if I hadn't come in and sort of exposed them.
Gotcha.
So then I
Snitched
had
on
to
them.
rethink my whole career. I mean,
Right, yeah.
have I been cock blocking for a decade?
You have.
You get in the
Pretty
car
much.
like, have I? No, I did think about it. I did think about it. Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I would think that it's such a service to the people that want this service. Like
Not everybody
I'm
does.
telling you, man, like I still watch Catfish, and I'll even go back because I have it in my DVR as well, where I still go back to like 2013,
Whoa.
and then even when people say and they'll say like, okay, yeah, Bow Wow is getting at me, and I'm sitting here like, no, he's not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But
But
we had a Chris Brown episode this last season. This girl thought she wasn't even a girl. She was an adult. She was a fully grown adult woman who thought she was talking to Chris Brown because he hit her up off of a fan page and knew all about him.
Sick in the head.
You
She
like,
knew it wasn't
man,
her.
like, come on,
She's
man.
telling
No.
friends
Like,
now.
but you know what? You got to go through the motions.
Right.
She sees
And-
him on TV and he like does one thing. She's like, that's a signal.
Well, wait.
Yeah.
Then we had the episode with the girl who thought she was talking to Rich Dallas from Love and Hip Hop.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was actually
I was so excited
She
over
was
that.
actually she was DMing with his verified account. Now, and I still think there's some speculation over whether or not it might have actually been him,
Him
but his
or-
cousin took the rap. His little nephew, excuse me, his
Like,
nephew
hey, you got to
said
take
it
this
was
one
him.
for me, man.
Right.
Like, really? Like, yeah. All right, man. Well, you got to give me a watch.
Right,
You know?
yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah. Like,
a
you know,
chain.
MTV called us. No, they didn't. Like, oh. Like,
You forgot.
yeah, and plus now everybody lives in, you know, either the there's so many new ways for somebody to be brought into the catfish now. There's so many new ways, but I would think, and I'm thinking, I would just say FaceTime, and that does not happen. Like, it'll kill the franchise.
Right. Yeah,
You know?
no, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. It does. A
Yeah.
lot of people figure this shit out
Oh,
early
yeah.
on, and
Yeah.
those are obviously not the episodes that we're doing.
Right.
But people who don't want to find out, who have some emotional sort of block that's telling them, I could find out this person's fake, but I don't want to give up what I've got, which is this great sort of friendship
And
flirtation.
you get some people that's like, I'm ready to move across the country, or I'm going to
crazy.
leave my
Wait, did you see
family.
Yeah, we had an episode that did work out where this was so interesting. This young black guy was catfishing this girl as a white guy, and these are his words. He felt like he identified more with quote white culture than black culture, and so she met him. We took her to meet him. He revealed that obviously he was a very different person. But she didn't care. They were both, like you say, dorks, and
And
loved
you
each
said
other.
they are. You agree too.
Well, I wouldn't use the word dork.
you agree.
You just kind of did, though.
Well, I'm quoting.
No, but you kind of
Big Boy.
co-signed. But that's
all right.
kinda
I'm
like
into it. I'm
co-sign.
in on
Okay.
dork.
Uh-huh.
And now they have a kid. Like
See what I'm
our
saying?
first official catfish spawn.
Wow.
Yeah, tadpole. I guess.
Do you go to like the wedding or to the baby shower? You got to keep a distance.
I don't think they're married, or no, they got married, but like a very quick sort of
Just at
town
the-
city
yeah.
hall.
You
yeah.
was like, thank God.
I'd love to. Yeah.
What
to
do
be at
people
a
say
wedding.
to you, like in the airport or in public? Do you get a lot of people that come up and say, "It happened to me," and this is what?
Yeah, I got a lot of people who've said they got catfish. A lot of people who tell me that because they watched the show, they were able to discover that the person that they were talking to was a catfish, which is nice.
You guys use some hella tech. When y'all start doing face recognition and
yeah, they're like
number
reverse
reversing, I'm
photo
like,
You know what the coolest thing that I learned making the show is? There's a website you can go to where you essentially can send a text message from the website. You put in someone's phone number, and it generates a link. And essentially, when the person gets the text, you can sort of have it say whatever you want, like, oh, hey, check out this funny article or whatever. And you can actually have the link connect to an article, but the second they open the link, it sends you a message to tell you where they opened it from. So like geographically. So if they say they're in Texas and you send them a link and then it'll tell you they're
Wow.
actually in Nebraska. Like it's pretty
Wow.
cool. Yeah.
Damn, that's how I'm gonna text my girlfriend from now on. Where you at?
Yeah, well, right. Yeah.
wow.
So that was a cool.
That
like,
is very cool.
discovery.
Is it cool or is it scary too?
That's
Well,
that's
that
hella
too.
scary.
A little
dog.
bit
But it's
scary.
kinda
It's a little sneaky. Yeah.
Now, have you ever been catfished?
No.
No,
Not yet.
You have?
Well, not that you
What
know of.
happened, Monica?
So I was on Tinder and I matched with this guy,
See,
right?
there it is.
And
If anyone in the room got catfished,
It
I don't
would
want
be
to say.
her.
You know what I'm saying? All right, go ahead, honey.
And like guys message me, but like I usually don't message them back. So, but this guy, like I knew what he looked like, and I looked at his Instagram account that was connected.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, okay, like
It
I
seemed legit.
recognized him, but nothing happened. Like,
Recognize him because he's someone like.
no, he's not like famous,
Oh.
but he had famous friends.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay, this is like a someone,
Sure.
you know.
A someone.
But it
I
was
only-
yeah.
An
Neve,
influencer.
this is a someone.
It's a someone.
Okay.
Okay.
Not a dork.
He
This
had
is a
like at
someone.
least
Yeah.
10,000 followers.
around, like in the
Right,
thousands
okay.
for sure.
Wow.
And then
Start somewhere.
nothing happened. Like he hit me up once, like, oh, I'm having a show at this place because he was a rapper, and I didn't go and I didn't answer the messages. But then I saw him in person.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
I
saw him in
remember.
person. I was like working this event, and he was like in this basketball game, and they were like, he was like best friends with Chris Brown, and I was like, oh my god, that's the guy, and he actually knows Chris Brown. Like this is legit. Like he's
Wow.
actually
Right.
here. and he's been messaging me.
Right.
So I was like, should I say something or is that weird? Like I'm working. Like I don't know if I should even mention it. So I go up to him and I'm like, hi, I think we matched on Tinder, you know? And he was like, what? And I was like, oh, like you were messaging me on Tinder, like.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I don't have Tinder.
Oh, somebody was using his picture.
Okay.
So what do? Do you turn around and walk away, or do you say,
I was
"Hey,
just like,
we're
oh,
here
he
now, so
probably
what's
just-
up?"
At first, I was like, he probably just doesn't like me and how I look, because I was working and I was like stressed out and I didn't look cute, and I was like, oh, okay, there's probably a lie to get out of interacting with me.
You must have
But
looked cute.
I think
Come
it was
on.
an actual catfish.
Yeah, it must have been.
Her friend
I had a
sounded
funny
like-
story like that too. I have a friend in New York who's a writer. We're working on some projects together, and he has a friend, like a childhood friend, who has a little bit of mental illness, but he's like a super cool, funny, interesting guy, and he's a fan of the show. So I met him, and he took a picture with me because he really wanted to put it on his dating profile, and he did. And then I was out one night at the ballet actually, and some girl walks up to me and says, "Hey, I'm dating your manager." And I was like, "What? I don't have a manager."
Oh,
and she's like, "Yeah, you do." Like, I can't remember his name right now, but I was like, and it occurred to me what was happening. I realized it, and in an effort to not cock block, I was like, "Oh, yeah. He's helped me out a few times, like." You know, and
Oh,
then
you went with the code. You went with the
yeah,
little
I
bro
went with it.
code.
I went with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone
And then-
used my
Because I would have
photo.
been like, I don't know that man.
but I did know him. Anyway,
Right.
and then I texted my friend and was like, you got to tell him to
bring that down.
She showed me the profile and it was like manager.
Wow.
You are not my manager.
Right.
Hey, oh.
I saved
Someone
you once. I
was
won't do
using
it
my
again.
photo on a dating site,
Really?
and Monica found it as
Whoa.
well, and she sent
It was
to
her.
me.
Right.
No, it was you. It was your friend found it and was like, "Hey, isn't this your coworker?" And I was like, "I'm not on that dating website,
Wow.
and those are my photos, but that's not."
Do you take that as a like, wow? Because
A
no
little
one would
use
use my photo.
A little bit.
You know
I
what I'm
was very-
saying?
I
Unless
was-
it was like a dog show or something.
Hilarious.
Like that.
I was
You
like,
know what I'm
"Aw."
saying? Like for real. You know, like that. But that's got to be like, damn, somebody used
yeah.
your
Nice.
picture.
I don't
thought
know.
it was pretty
Apparently,
enough.
sanitation workers have great benefits. Like, I could see someone creating like a really attractive.
Sanitation worker?
Yeah, I could see you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Or like a UPS.
Is that a compliment he's doing over there?
Yeah, I think he is.
Like, Big, you look like you'd be hanging off the back of
Yeah.
a trash
you,
truck.
No, you look like
You
Yeah.
like, but with
I
style,
love
like
that
scooping
one.
the trash cans up and still holding on to the truck.
No, you look like you could be a really refined government employee. That's what I'm saying,
Oh,
or
thank you.
municipal
all
employee.
your pictures
Yeah.
would be with an
sanitation
artist.
engineer.
Right.
Yeah, a sanitation engineer. And with all the famous people trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is Neve Showman's trash.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta love me. I think I'm gonna get pissed at this a little later on.
Yeah, I think you are.
Yeah, I think
You're
I'm
gonna think about it.
yeah, I think I'm gonna erase the whole season of
Clear that
Catfish.
DVR.
Your whole
Yeah.
catalog that you
Just
have.
wanna- I only get 5 of them at a time. So yeah, I think
Oh
I'm
my
just gonna
God.
go ahead and clear it and take you out of my preferred. Neve, you got tattoo removal?
Yeah, I did.
I'm looking at a picture
We know everything.
was
of
bro.
very
this right
surprised by
here.
this.
Yeah.
I think I need one more session to fully.
But okay,
regain
so
my
what is
dignity.
this that was on your back?
You
Tramp
know,
stamp.
it's just It was. Well, I like to call it a champ.
Oh, a champ stamp. Okay.
A champ
okay.
stamp. There we go.
I'm gonna call
The-
mine now. I
They
have
go to
one.
they go to
Kicking my
double
chair
standard.
now. Yeah,
Right,
double
yeah,
standard.
For
exactly.
the girls is tramp, for the guys is champ. All right.
Interesting.
Let's talk about this double standard. But so you
It
had
was
this
just a
tattoo.
mistake. It was just an impulsive thing I did when I was 17, and regretted it shortly after. But kind of thought, well, whatever. It's there. It's part of who I am.
And is that on your back right there?
It's on
at
my
one
lower
point?
back. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you got to remove. How many
I
sessions did you have to do with
I
that?
think it was almost 10 or 11 of
Good
them.
gosh.
Did it hurt?
You know what? It's funny. The first time it didn't hurt because I got there and they put this cream on there and I waited. I was like, oh, this is no big deal. So the second time I just rolled in.
Like it's no thing.
Yeah.
I've done this.
And it hurt a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Damn.
so
Did you
then
start thinking like, maybe I should just leave this faded little thing on here?
Well, no. So then, no. But if you do the numbing cream for like an hour before, it really
Oh,
barely
I
feel
see.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
What is everyone gonna do with all these tattoos on their face?
I don't know.
Damn.
I mean, you could get them removed, I guess.
But it's got if that hurt your lower back, I can just imagine
Oh, yeah.
Face.
what that must feel like just getting those things burnt off your face.
Yeah,
Do you have
sure.
any other tattoos?
Just one little one right there.
And what does that little one mean?
This is it's a like a mouse cursor from a computer.
Yeah.
The poster for the original documentary Catfish.
Oh, that's right.
Had that on it. So me and my brother, our friend Henry, who was the co-director, and our editor Zach, we all
Y'all
got
have
that.
it. I should go get it just
Nice.
to mess y'all up.
I got one too.
Like I had
I'm in
nothing
the
to do
crew,
with it.
guys.
Like,
You were
yeah.
an executive producer on
Well,
it.
if you say so, I still haven't got my check, but I would definitely take
Yeah, me
that.
neither.
But yeah, hello. But you
But I did
eat,
all right.
Neve.
Yeah, I mean-
Neve, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
into the
Thank you.
neighborhood,
Oh, this
man.
was great.
No, it was a pleasure to hang out with you, man. And I really watch the show.
He does.
You know what I'm saying? Like I
He really does.
really watch it, man. So continue as many episodes as we can get. Please
For real.
continue to do so.
All right, I will.
What else is going on outside of Catfish? There's another series with you and the Queen as well.
That's right. Yeah, my wife and I have a show on Facebook called We Need to Talk.
And what does We Need to Talk?
It's just a talk show, I guess, about relationships. People call in or email in with questions about all kinds of things that people in relationships go through, and we kind of just talk about it. We don't have answers.
Right.
I like to call it a bad advice show, but like we're just helping people start conversations about things that are often uncomfortable or not easy to talk about.
How did you and your wife meet, if you don't mind my asking?
I slid into her DMs.
Hey.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, for real?
Did she not think it was you at first?
Well, I mean, I am verified, so that probably helped. But I had actually been following her boyfriend on Instagram.
Oh, look
Okay,
at
this
you.
is getting tacky.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait.
He's messy.
Okay,
He
yeah.
stole somebody's girlfriend,
Wait, I
made
wanna
him,
know.
No,
made her his
they
wife.
had broken up.
Okay.
And so then I saw
So you
I
went,
had an
"Damn."
opening, right? And it was actually really good. It was. I'll just tell you. We end on
Just
this.
real
This
quick.
is perfect.
Did they break up or did you cause them to break up?
No,
Because you
they-
got some tricky stuff that you can do.
Yeah.
No, they had broken
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Anyway, so
Sorry for accusing you.
she had liked a picture I had posted of my motorcycle, and I didn't even know she was following me. I woke up, I saw the alert. You know, she'd liked my pic, so I took a picture of my helmet, and then you could see me in the reflection of the visor, and I just said, "Want to go for a ride?"
I knew it.
Nice.
I knew
Wanna
you did
go
that.
for
I
a
knew
ride.
it.
Yeah.
Slick.
I knew it.
and then she wrote back, "Ha, duh," which I thought was cute. So then I was feeling saucy. So I just said in all caps tonight, because I was actually leaving the next day to film an episode. I was like,
And
"Tonight."
y'all never had any dialogue before that?
That was it. This was the first thing we had
Wow.
ever said. So then, and this is when I honestly, this is when I think I knew I was in love. Her response was, "But I wore a skirt to work with no panties."
Oh,
Look at her.
dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was it. And so I actually went to
Wife.
Victoria's Secret, bought a pair of underwear that
As you
matched
should.
my motorcycle,
That's what a
brought
man
them
would do.
to her,
Oh my gosh.
I picked her
I
up from
love
work, and took her on a date, and then took the panties back at the end of the night.
There it hello. And then you live
Wow.
happy
Yeah.
ever after.
7
See how that
months-
works
yeah.
out?
Very
Wow.
That's,
Hey, dude, it
that's a
sounds
finesse.
crazy. That's like
Yeah.
a love story. If it
was
was
good.
any
It
other
was
way, it'd be
good.
like, damn, that sounds
Yeah.
crazy as hell.
Yeah.
And then he brought me panties.
Yeah.
And then he
this
took 'em back.
Nasty creep. Dude, when she said the whole thing, you should have said, I'm offended by that. You should
Yeah.
hit her back like, who
That's
is
inappropriate
this?
work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it worked out,
And I
man.
said-
I'm calling
It worked
HR
out.
on
Well,
you.
once again,
Wow,
Neve,
what a
thank you for
story.
coming into the neighborhood.
thanks,
Definitely
guys.
appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. We will be on as the neighborhood and on Catfish one of these days.
Yeah.
Either
Yeah.
We're on the
rolling with
list.
you or they probably may get Catfish.
Yeah.
Well,
someone
somebody
in
of
here.
it.
She's
Yeah.
the single one in here.
Whichever
Yeah.
comes first.
Yeah. Or
Uh-huh.
I don't want to say it. Or Monica over there. All righty, man. Enjoy life, man, and we'll
Thank
see you
you so
soon.
much.
Neve in the neighborhood, Big Boy's
Big
neighborhood.
Boy.